Here's everything I did to prepare for my move to Japan. Welcome back. Today I'm walking around the River Thames in a village called Old Windsor. This week's episode is all about everything I needed to do leading up to my move to Japan and everything that I need to do when I get there. One of the first things I needed to do was pay some money to secure my place. It was about £100. And then I started filling in an online form that they gave me, which had lots of sections, lots of information to give, personal details, past trips to Japan, employment details, savings information, that sort of stuff. One of the things that the school asks for is a cover letter explaining why you want to move to Japan and what your future plans are. Another thing that they ask for is some evidence that you've at least started studying Japanese. I think it's something like you need at least 100 hours worth of study, which I had, but wasn't really documented. Luckily, I started doing one-to-one tuition with a Japanese tutor on a website called Preply. And Preply gives a certificate once you've hit a certain amount of hours, so that helped for my case. There was a bit of back and forth with GoGo Nihon, the person I was chatting to, and they were super helpful and yeah, just a good resource for asking questions if you're unsure about anything. So overall, application process went pretty smooth, albeit a little bit lengthy, but I expected that, to be honest. Fast forward to the 16th of September and I got a message from GoGo Nihon saying that the school that I chose approved my application. To be honest, it was such a long wait between my application and getting the approval. It was pretty nerve-wracking, ups and downs in my emotions, whether I should do what I was about to do and that sort of stuff. But when I got the approval, it felt real, so I was pretty happy about that. Fast forward another month to middle of November, I got a bill for my tuition fees. So this is 6 months worth of tuition, and that came to £2,500. Then a few days later, around the 17th of November, I was issued something called a COE, Certificate of Eligibility, which basically is a certificate that you take to the embassy, Japanese embassy, in person, and you trade it for a student visa. So I then booked an appointment with the Japanese embassy in central London. A few days later, 21st of November, someone at GoGo Nihon told me that they have a Discord server, which wasn't expecting. I've always seen Discord as a kind of a gaming platform, but I guess it's just for communities in general. But it ended up being really helpful. There's people who are in the same position as me about to go, and also people who've been there, and everyone's super helpful. You can ask questions and that sort of stuff, so pretty good. Around the same time, middle of November, I got a message from GoGo Nihon saying it was time to submit my preferences for accommodation. Asking stuff like, do you mind a commute? What type of room do you want, private or shared, etc. So I submitted all of that, and then a couple of share house or co-living places got in touch with me, and one wouldn't really work out with my flight arrival date on the 2nd of January. I would have had to get a hotel in the meanwhile. The other one in Amagasaki worked out. It was open on the 2nd of January, so I went for that one and started chatting with them, gave them some information, filled in a few forms, etc. And yeah, and then a few days later, nearing the end of November, I got an invoice for my accommodation, which was £2,500 for 6 months. I can stay for a year if I want to, or I can change accommodation at the 6-month mark if I want. At the end of November, I signed up for a mobile phone contract, which comes with data and that sort of stuff, with a company called Mobile. GoGo Nihon recommended them. It's very foreigner friendly. you can apply from abroad, etc. And surprisingly, the SIM card arrived a few days later in the post. So I've got that sorted. When I get there, I just need to pop it in my phone and I'm sorted. So the next thing was at the beginning of December. I had my appointment with the Japanese embassy in central London, and I had to fill in a form and print out a little picture of myself and like a passport photo and stick it on the form. And then when I got there, I soon found out that the picture that I took myself with a white background wasn't sufficient, and I needed to go around the corner and get a passport photo and stick it on the form. So that was a little bit embarrassing. And then in December, what I've been doing is just contacting companies that I should tell that I'm moving abroad, like my bank, my pension, student loan. You can pause your payments while you're abroad, and stuff like that. Obviously, I've also been packing, so all the usual stuff, clothes and whatever. One thing that I think is going to come in handy is a little travel adapter, which has a Japanese plug, but comes out to some UK sockets and some USB slots. So pretty glad that I've got that. Hopefully it works. Okay, so that wraps up pretty much the stuff that I've done leading up to the move. Now, when I get there, I need to do a bunch of stuff. So I arrive on the 2nd of January, and obviously I need to get from the airport to my accommodation. Doesn't seem like too hard of a journey. And the school told me between the 5th and the 8th of January, I have to go into the school and do a level check test, which I presume means checking what proficiency I have of Japanese, and I presume there's going to be different classes for different abilities. So whatever class I'm in, I don't mind, as long as it's, appropriate and I can get the most out of it. So should be fine. I've done the JLPT exams, so feeling okay about doing a Japanese exam. Maybe not the speaking part, I don't have too much practice with that, but whatever. On the 9th of January, there's a enrolment ceremony, whatever that is. I presume I'm just going to go in and sit down and say hello, introduce myself maybe? Not sure. I guess I'll let you know when I find out. And then my classes actually start on the 13th of January, so it's pretty exciting, nerve-wracking. It'd be good to meet some of my classmates and I guess just settle in. And I've got a long list of things to do when I get there in terms of admin stuff. When I get to the airport, I'll need to get a thing called a Zairyu Card, which I think is kind of like a residence card. Not entirely sure, to be honest. I'm also able to sign up for Japanese national health insurance, which is good, so I'll need to get that done. I'll need to register my address, so the share house or the co-living space, at a ward office is what they call it. I guess it's kind of like a council in the UK. I'll need to sign up for a bank account when I'm there. Gogo Nihon recommended one called Japan Post Bank. So I'll need to go and get that set up. I'm not sure how necessary this next thing is. There's a thing called a Hanko, which I think is sort of like a signature stamp. It's a little bit old school, but I think they still use it, and it's recommended to get one. Sounds kind of cool, to be honest, having my own signature stamp, so probably get one of those. I'm able to work part-time if I want while I'm there. So I need to fill in a form and hand it in at the airport when I get there. I don't think I will work part-time when I get there initially, just burn through my savings, and then if I decide to for language practice or a bit of money, then at least I've handed in that form. And then the last of the serious stuff, I guess, is my doctor when I'm there, find a hospital to register with and a dentist and stuff like that. So yeah, I need to get that done. When I'm settled in, I'll likely buy a bike. They're pretty popular in Japan, little commuter bike, and just for exploring or going out shopping, I don't know. And find a gym near me, I guess. I've heard there are some good ones, but I don't think I'll be splashing out on a gym. Something to just keep me active, and yeah. Okay, that's everything. Pretty easy, right? Right, I'm going to leave it there for this episode. So the next time I upload a video, I'll be in Japan, which is pretty damn hype. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.